Hey guys, I'm super excited to bring this video to you and hopefully you can hear me. But this video will be all about why we moved to Nigeria. Um, this is my first video on YouTube and hopefully you can hear me. But hello there. First off, I just want to say thank you. If you are here from Instagram or from TikTok or Facebook and you've been watching the reels, the clips, and the tiny little updates that I've had and it brought you here, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's really been cool seeing how many of you have been asking for the full story. Like, how did we get here? How did this happen? And why did we move? What made us leave the US, but why Nigeria? So I figured, and many of you suggested, so I'm just going to tell it. I want to tell you it right away here on YouTube as best as I can, where I can really sit with you and walk you through everything as best as I can. So first, I guess I'll just start by, if you're new here, that's what they say on YouTube, right? If you're new here, my name is Shanice. I'm new here as well. In this channel, it's going to be a mixture of things, including toddlers. So you're going to see me doing everyday life, what it's like to actually live in Nigeria as an American. You're also going to see motherhood, lots of it. Like I have my toddler cleaning on my tripod right now because they're a big part of this journey. You're also going to see lifestyle, adjusting, learning, growing in a completely new environment. You're also going to see my work, right? Because I'm a founder of something called Pause. Many of you may know it, and many of you may not. So here it is. Pause, it stands for promoting active understanding of social and emotional empowerment. It's a professional development program, and it's really centered around helping educators and youth serving professionals so they can show up with more presence, more intentionality, and more connection with the students that they lead and the spaces that they serve. So you're going to see a lot of those pieces. And another part that you're going to see is how I show up, how I reflect in the eyes of Pause, because Pause isn't just something I teach, it's something that I actually live and practice. I'm also currently pursuing my doctorate in education, so you'll see a bit of that journey unfold here as well. You saw some of that experience with that time difference on Instagram. But let's get into what you guys are really here for, which is why I moved, right? So I want to bring you into that story. And it's not just highlighting the small pieces that you guys seen on Instagram. Um, we're going to talk about why we decided to leave the US and more importantly, why Nigeria specifically. So considering our family, right? So I'm a wife, I'm a mother of two toddlers, and my husband is Nigerian. He's born and raised, he spent some time in the UK, but born and raised here in Nigeria. And that part of our family, it really matters more than we even realize it. My daughter almost closed the door and locked us out. But back in Nigeria, here, we have my mother in law. And because of the biggest things that we were facing, um, one of those was that our children had never had the chance to meet their grandmother in person. They've seen her on FaceTime, they've seen her on WhatsApp. And it wasn't for the lack of my husband and I trying. We've applied for visas twice, and they both were denied. That tells you a little bit about the challenges with immigrants, right? And that's not just frustrating, it's extremely heartbreaking because you're talking about family and moments you don't get back because the world is going. And watching your children grow and know that someone who loves them deeply is missing out on all of that because they're across the world, it was really heartbreaking for my husband and I. So that really ignited a shift in our perspective. And after a while, with that shift in our perspective, we kept trying to bring her to the US, but we then started to think about, what if we're supposed to go to her, right? Because when we think about the life in the US, now let me just get this part clear, right? We were not struggling in the US, and thank God for that. We both have jobs, we both had stability, we both had amazing structure, and from the outside, everything looked great. But if you really live in America right now, you know that there is a complete different side to that, right? Considering the cost of living, it keeps rising. Healthcare is extremely expensive, and there is constant pressure socially, emotionally, and absolutely financially. And there's this unspoken expectation in America to keep going, to keep producing, to keep achieving, even when you are extremely tired and exhausted and out of resources. There's a lot of back and forth with that, right? A lot of back and forth emotional things. And I'm not going to act like that it was easy, because for years, we went back and forth with the thought and back and forth with the yes we should, no we shouldn't, and trying to figure out what made the most sense, or what felt right, or what we were really ready for, or what we were giving up. And the truth is, this decision looked very different for both of us, quite honestly. And for my husband, this was home for him, Nigeria. This was familiar. It's his culture, it's his environment, it's his people. Every single thing that he knew, it was here. So, in many ways, this was just a return for him. But for me, this was different. I was leaving the United States, the place where I was born, where I was raised, where everything I knew existed. Every single thing I knew existed there. My family, my routine, my comfort, my practices, everything that felt normal. So this wasn't just a move for me specifically, it felt like stepping into the unknown. And that takes a different perspective and courage. Lots and lots of courage and prayer. Mm, to God be the glory. And then, you know, there was another layer to this that I didn't consider, because becoming parents, right? Thinking about that, raising children in the United States, it's not easy. It's not easy. And I don't think people always say that out loud. People are starting to online. So, yes, there are opportunities in America. Yes, there is structure, but that level of support, right? Especially with young children, it can feel very limited. Now, I'm grateful for my family. However, they work and childcare is expensive. Everything feels like a system you have to keep up with. And a lot of times you're doing it alone, right? My family works, so they couldn't be available all the time to be there for the children while my husband and I worked. So then we started to realize something broader in Nigeria. There's a different kind of support, right? There's more family. There's community, which is something that doesn't exist in America. There's presence. There's this feeling of you're not doing everything by yourself. And that mattered to us, especially for our children. Especially for our children. My family at home is very, very supportive, but they also work. So when we were going back and forth, it wasn't just about where we wanted to live, it was about how we wanted to live, right? What we wanted our children to experience. It was about what kind of support we wanted around us. And after years of thinking about it, we finally said yes. We finally said yes to family, yes to presence, yes to a different kind of life, yes to a different experience, and yes to change, right? This is a big change for all of us. So we packed up our lives. We did all the paperwork with two toddlers, which is an experience by itself. Let me tell you, it's an experience by itself. And we made the move to Nigeria. Not because everything was perfectly planned, because it wasn't. There's a lot of holes that we still need to fill, but because we were ready to trust God and trust the decision, and blessed be our discernment in this process. So, what does this mean? In this move, it's bigger than just a location. It's bigger than connection, it's bigger than identity, it's bigger than alignment. It's about raising our children with a deeper understanding of who they are, where they come from, and what they have access to, and creating a life that feels whole. You know what I mean? Creating a life that feels whole. And if you're watching this, right, whether you have been here in YouTube, seeing the reels, or this is your first time seeing me, I am really glad that you're here because this is just the beginning for me, for our children, and there's so much more to share with this real experience, the adjustments, the lessons, and see me smacking the door because my kids are there, and all of that. You're gonna see all of it, right? Um, so if you want to see what life is actually like for me as an African American here living in Nigeria, I won't give out my exact location, but I'm here in Nigeria for our babies, our building, our growing. Please, please, please make sure you subscribe because I'm bringing you along for this journey. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect, but we're going to do it together. But not for the perfect version, the real one, the real, authentic, hot, uncomfortable, scared, excited, lonely version. You know, not lonely, but great. We didn't just move countries, we chose a different life. And I'm here to bring you along with me. So, thank you for watching. I hope you like this first video, and there will be more to come. Bye.